ass. Zoom in on that ass. Contract for deed isn't illegal, but it's hard to service. And what they were trying to avoid is whenever the person that has rightful title gets ready to sell this shit.
Well, that's what was the issue. I'm like, they didn't set it up like where the original seller goes on first lien. Like,
yeah, it's
still in her name, and she won't sign as anything on. If her name is next to seller, she wants realtor commissions.
But there's a contract for deed filed on public record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this bitch is playing with fire. She could lose this whole house. Now we got another guy busting in here like goddamn Shrek. What the fuck?
Get out of my swamp.
But it's so. But he's upset because he's like, well, if the deal's not going to work, I want my money back. I'm like, look, bro, our job is to fund.
Oh,
No.
he needs.
We're-
He needs to
we're
quit being a
trying to-
whiny. Look, if he doesn't have the skill set to close this deal, I know somebody who does. Do we need to swap this loan over to us? I'll pay the bitch 6%. Is 6% breaks the deal? It wasn't a deal, Austin Ingram. Put that on my TikToks. This is ridiculous. The whole deal is ridiculous. But the part that's ridiculous is that I guess Austin's fighting this himself.
Well, no, he's there. He's working on getting the seller to.
No, but I mean, it's him.
Yes.
There's not another human fighting this battle for him.
right.
So, like, right
No.
now, Shane's he's elk hunting in Colorado. You going elk hunting with us this year?
I'll go. I'll be back there.
We ain't going to give a fuck. You want to know why? 'Cause we'll just put Ashley. We'll be like, Ashley, Kitty, y'all fight these fucking battles while we're up here trying to kill elk. You know what I mean? But I'm a little bit worried about the real estate community. I got access. So Batch Leads, if you go to trybatchleads.com, you can be under my affiliate. We're going to start a Facebook group just for the people that are under my affiliate. Christina's going to help me get that set up. But they have better access to the data of who signed up under our affiliates and not, which means that we get to see people that are canceling their batch right now, like live. So there's several people that signed up forever ago and just never used it. They came to the retreat. We locked up deals with them, and then a week later they canceled. Expected. No doubt that that's going to happen 100% of the time. But there's people that used it for 2 years that are just now currently canceling their subscription.
I feel like now's the time to keep it. It's so much cheaper.
So what's happening?
Getting scared. They ain't buying data. They ain't sending mailers.
It ain't that. I mean, I know you're not. You see our board. How many deals do we have under contract to sell right now?
Like 1, 2.
No, it's only one. It's only one, because the other owner finance got to closing and backed out. One deal. So our inventory is probably. It's so hard to keep up with because every day we just come in and erase another one because we put a tenant in. You know.
Well, we are closing on a refis.
Yeah, we're closed on refis, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like our board's stacked up with stuff that we're trying to sell. We put a for rent sign out, put a tenant in, erase it. We leave it listed just in case somebody wants to buy a rental. But I mean, overall, it's abysmal. Had a deal, brand new deal, completely remodeled. Spoon took 2 years on this deal. Nice little 2-year deal for Spoon. He got it done. I mean, have you ever seen it?
Mm-mm.
No, we bought a little shit box. It was, I guess, too ugly, so Spoon had it hauled off. I think that was in year one. I think it disappeared in year one, and then somewhere along the way, he bought a trailer house from a wholesaler in Odessa, and then his mover took money but didn't move it. So that was like first thing that happened. So it just stayed in Odessa for a little while. It had a little vacay over in Odessa. He finally got a mover to move it, got it there. The mover was going to set it up and then just took the money and didn't set it up. I mean, is that how
Second
you
time.
understood it?
Yeah.
Like, so somehow, and then it just sat there for a while, and eventually, like an electrician went out there and hooked everything up. And Spoon's an electrician, so
Didn't he like a master electrician?
he is a master electrician. So I guess we were an electrician away for a little while, and Spoon was just like, "Yeah, well, I'm gonna." Anyways, finally got a guy to go out there and do it. Hooked up the plumbing. So we would have got that deal sold if it had hit the market sooner. I know, but it's a beautiful deal. Once we got professional pictures, it's a beautiful mobile home. Has good comps, nice area. But just was not getting showings. Think we got one offer for $125,000, which we could have sold it. We could have sold it for $125,000. Wouldn't have made money, much money, maybe $2,000-$3,000, but we'd have got away from it. But I was like, why would we sell it for that when I can rent it for $1,500 a month? We put a for rent sign for $1,500 a month in. Boom, it was a done deal. But a lot of that money, like, so the cost base is around $100 on that, but most of that's carrying costs. Most of that's just interest only payments made to the lender it has to be a 2-year process.
24 months worth of payments can add up.
24 months worth of payments can add up, but I mean, I feel like I'm being a little mean to Spoon by saying it was 2 years, but I really think it was 2 years. I think we owned that before you came to work for us. I think we owned that in 2019. We got another one that we definitely bought in 2019. That's Chandler, that we just got the eviction on. So we bought it in 2019 for $11,000. And owner financed it to a guy. He gave us cash for the down payment, took the cash to the title company, gave it to the title company, and he refused to show up and close. So he had remodeled the place and was living there, but he would refuse to show up and close, and it was just like, we only got $11,000 in this deal. We're just not. It just never could claw its way to the top of give a fuck mountain. You know what I mean? It just never was going to be a big deal. We're like, he would call us every 3 or 4 months and demand we give him his money back, and we would say, all right, man, move out. And he's like, I already remodeled this place. I'm not moving out. And we're like, well, you can't have it for free. And he's like, I know what y'all paid for this. It was just this weird deal.
That ain't got nothing to do with anything, bro.
It was a weird, it was a whole strange, I don't know if the original owner went by there and was like, oh man. And we were only owner financing it to him for like $30,000 too. It was going to be a good little deal for us, but he gave us $3,000 down in cash. And we're not talking a whole bunch of money in any of this. Anyways, he ends up going to prison. And
so he moved out.
He moved out, yeah. And then so we were like, oh, he's in prison. Let's evict these people that are there. So we evicted them, and now we got possession of that property. We've since released his money, earnest money. We signed a release. It was at the title company. So
Whole time?
yeah, go get you some commissary, bro. Like, here's $3. You know how much $3,000 is in prison?
Goes a long way.
Maybe, I don't know. It might not. What can you buy at commissary? So Hill, can you find what like commissary prices in a good old Texas prison are? You know what I mean? Like, I think you can get like Pop-Tarts. You know what I mean?
Oatmeal cream pies?
Maybe. Yeah. Oh, bro, what we got here? Strawberry preservatives. We can get potato chips.
Oh, look at them prices. Look at them. $3,000. You're a king, bro.
Dude.
Look at that.
Oh, bro, you're a baller.
Packaged meat.
You're a baller. Cream cheese packet, 2 ounces, 65 cents, bro.
$1.25 for some canned tuna.
I bet
You're
you he
in there.
gets a shower alone now. He's in there, you know. He's trading saltine crackers and fucking cream cheese for fucking
You get
alone shower time.
Mountain Dew for like 55 cents.
Dude, salt,
You're
bro.
balling out.
Does it have? Is it name brand or is it going to be like high top brand? Is it like
It says
that?
Coke, Diet Coca-Cola.
Oh yeah,
Coca-Cola is Coca-Cola, man. V8.
You can get a big red for 55 cents. That's better than I can do at a gas station. Eggplant parmesan.
holiday items.
What the hell? Tea bags, $1.75 for 100 bags.
Pickle, 70 cents. Yeah,
Jalapeno peppers, whole. 2
Flour
ounces.
tortilla is like the most expensive thing at $1.
It's 12 pack though.
Bluebell pint, $2.35. That is cheaper than a gas station.
Yeah.
Whole lot cheaper.
Oh yeah, they're doing good in there, man. This $3,000, getting some refried beans for $2.65.
Yeah, we
We
did
hooked
him
up.
some good.
Yeah, I bet you know, and he didn't know it was coming either. Like title company had to find where he's at. and like mail it to the jail, like to the trust account or whatever. So, what is this? They got income?
You know, they're forced into job programs and get paid like $1 an hour.
Really?
After seeing those prices, though, that's like,
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of rich.
Oh, Texas, nothing.
Of
We do the
course.
labor for free. 13th Amendment.
What? Yeah.
13th Amendment says that you can be, you can essentially, that's what outlawed slavery, but you can still be a slave if you're in prison.
Really?
sitting there working for
Yep.
free.
When I was in the oil field, I worked with a guy who was in prison, and he ran a hoe all day, like an actual hoe, and he called it an Aggie. They called it an Aggie. I think he was in Huntsville, and they would just shackle dudes together in a line, so they're like chain shackled or ankle shackled in a line, and they would just hoe an entire field all the way across, and that's what he would do all day. And he said he loved it. He was like, "Oh, I loved it." Like nobody, like you just be out. Like, I was like, "Man, that's like a weapon. You could just take the dude out next to you." He's like, "Nobody ever would." It was just like because getting to go out in the fresh air and the grass. You know what I
Do
mean?
some work.
And do some work,
honest
even though you were chained to your buddy.
Nah, but it's honest work, you know? You're just out there, just
Yeah,
all
I don't-
day.
but I think they planted crops and like grew crops. But yeah, he said he'd run a hoe all day, all day.
It's good life right there.
I thought he meant backhoe. He just meant like
That'd be too much fun.
a ho-ho.
That's giving him a video game.
Well, and you know, a vehicle.
AC. Yeah.
Like, oh, there's a fence with some barbed wire at the top. I'll just drive through that.
Yeah.
You know,
Free my homies.
yeah, drive through the side of the prison. Like, come on, bros, let's get out. We're free now. So, anyways, well, yeah. So that deal, I don't. But anyways, it's sitting rotting on the market. Didn't sell. You don't have any of that. What are your deals? You didn't. You listed one. It didn't sell.
Yeah, I'm not a good flipper.
I know why now, though. I think we could have done better. I think if I'd have went and looked at it, I could have helped you out a little bit. 90 was an aggressive price on that. What'd you pay for it?
30.
So, in the smaller amounts, you can divide it by 0.7, but the closing costs are so much more that you really need to be selling it at like 60 cents on the dollar. So take 30 and divide it by 0.6. I don't know what that is. How much is that, Braxton? You good at math. 30 divided by 0.6.
1875.
It's 50 grand. No, 0.6. Yeah, there you go. So you list that thing out for 50 grand day one.
Would have been a good day.
Maybe not, but you would have known. Like that.
Well,
That's
it's like at 50, I would have rather just held it as a rental, though.
in your mind. But right now, you're going for the refi. What happened?
It's go repairs.
Repairs. You had to. What else did you have to do?
Wait for an appraisal.
No, you had to replumb it.
Yeah.
What did that cost?
I don't know.
Still ain't paid it.
I don't think so. Now that you say that, I ain't seen that invoice.
So maybe GBT Property Management paid that for you.
Need to make sure that GBT Property Management did it.
Or Furman's just like did it for a favor. I need to talk to Furman about. We'll text Furman after this. But so you had to replumb it.
Brandon's gonna be like $2,500,
So you got another $2,500,
and then DJ was like $500.
But that's why you're paying Brandon $2,500 because DJ was $500. I love DJ, but $500 worth of DJ gets you $2,500 worth of Brandon
So at least $3,000 plus whatever.
with a roof coming.
They said they just bolted down the one sheet or whatever
Oh, I know. I'm just telling
with
you.
a roof coming.
There's a roof coming. It's not going to take the metal is nailed down, and it's going to either leak or going to blow off in a good storm. Probably insured though. I would guess that it's insured. Maybe now that we're talking about it on the internet, you know what I mean? Maybe not. I don't know.
Check the policy.
Check
I
the
don't know.
policy. Yeah. I mean, but what I'm saying is like they it's metal, so like it's got a longer depreciation than shingles. So I mean, maybe you get a little more if some damage happens. Hard to get wind damage paid though. So that I do agree that if it does rent, I think they've got it out for $900 maybe. They got 2 applications this weekend,
Sweet.
so you'll still be all right. Your refi goes through, you'll be okay. But I would have sold that motherfucker. I'd have listed it for 50 day one, because then you'd have already had a tenant in there 6 months ago. How long you owned it?
I think since April or May.
Yeah, you'd have. I mean, that's not long, but you'd have made this decision sooner if you listed it for 50. Listing it for 90. One, who told you 90?
The realtors won't want to put it out there.
They're professionals.
Oh yeah,
They
a real estate professional. They're like, we got strong data. It'll go.
we
for
got
this.
strong data. We'll go for that. And we did our research on this. We hired the guy that had sold a lot of stuff in a low amount of time in that town. And anyways,
They don't really return your calls though. I think that was probably part of it.
oh, it's definitely part of it.
Is I don't know if it really was only getting like a showing every 2 weeks, or if it was I would call their number and would not get a call back.
Which is why we just fired an agent in Fort Worth. In Fort Worth, we fired a commercial agent. Me and Braxton drove by there. They had a sign out. I called the number on the sign. Now, it was late at night. No doubt about it. Left the voicemail that I had interest in that building. Never received a call back. You can't. Real estate agents are, if in this economy, if you're not returning calls, if you're not returning voicemails, like you're gone. But I'm ready to call it. I think the market. I don't know how long it's going to stay in this lull, but I'm ready to call it. It's not a crash, but it is. The market is done. It's toast. If you don't have a landlord skill set, if you don't have a owner finance skill set, if you're not wholesaling to people that do owner finance and do landlord type stuff, this market's gonna push you out. People, what we were talking about at the beginning, are canceling their marketing machine because they cannot monetize what's going on. They just can't turn it into money. You can spend money, but if you can't turn it into revenue, you're done. I asked Jacob the other day when we were driving to go dove hunting what he wished he would have known 7 years ago, that 7 years ago, starting out, that he knows today. What do you think his answer was?
Something along the lines of, I guess seeing more of the value long term, like riding stuff out.
Nah, because he saw that early.
What was it then?
Revenue. Transactional revenue. Making money selling real estate. Because we went through a big period of time where we did not sell anything. We bought everything to rent it out or owner finance it. That's the only reason we bought it. We did not wholesale. We did not flip. You know why we actually got back into flipping? Random chick on the internet hit me up, wanted a job, and we just started our office in Groesbeck, so they were in California. She had experience in property management, so we hired her, moved her family out here, spent $12,000 moving the family out. They lived in a house next to mine, that gray house. They got involved with another investor up here. He kind of stole them away, and I think that was a mistake on their part. But they got kind of enamored by that possibility, and they were a little bit bougie at the time. A little bit bougie. They like California prices are so high that, like Texas, they kind of got out in front of their skis and weren't in the right. You've read what's the From Good to Great?
Mm-hmm.
The right seat on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't in the right seat. But we decided to show her how to wholesale, and we got back into transactional real estate at that moment. And literally, I can think of a lot of negatives about that entire experience of hiring the wrong person for the wrong seat on the bus and all of that and everything that went along with it after that was definitely a little bit dramatic. Whitley got hired to take their place, so that's interesting fact. Whitley's been with us 4 years now. Did you know that?
I think I did, yeah.
Yeah, 4 years, I think, today. So, anyways, that whole deal kind of came out, and it was a negative experience overall if you just look at it on the face value. But I look at it from the point of view that we started getting transactional again, which then led to the money that we're making now. We created the partnership with Spoon. We started doing everything that we're doing, got you into our ether, and grew the transactional side into a business. I think that early on, whenever we were refinancing everything, it was easy. You could refinance anything. Didn't have nothing holding you back until you get to the next year and you pull up your tax return and you made money. You made enough to get by. Like you had, good cash positions, everything else, but you didn't make enough to stay lendable. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like banks want to see a solid
something coming in.
Well, they want to see a solid global debt service coverage ratio. So what we didn't understand at that time was, like right now we have $4 million worth of inventory that's flip inventory, right? It's $4 million worth of real estate we own with the intention of selling. The debt service on that is $40,000 a month, okay? So to have a debt service coverage ratio, the bank would like to see you got to make like $60,000 a month. 40 of that's going to cover the debt. 20 of that is the coverage ratio they want to see. That's just the flipping business, right? So if you start writing that, let's say you're looking at it and you're like, oh, I can dump, I'm getting close to the end of the year. I can spend all this money in marketing or I can pay taxes. What would you rather do?
All on marketing.
That's right. You rather would. You would just take that money and say, hey, look, I can lower my tax burden if I just go buy a bunch of bandit signs today. I can put them in a shed. I don't have to put them out today, but I can purchase them today and I can write them off for this year's taxes. I can pay a company like, say, Harper Belmont and say, hey, I want to put together all these Google ads. These are ad campaigns. I want to do video ads. I want to produce all this. What would that take? And they say, that's going to be $30,000. I could write them a check for $30,000, hand it to them, and then boom, I get to take that off, even though that marketing is going to go out in the future, right? Actually, talk to your CPA about that. I don't want to give tax advice. You know what I mean? But you can spend that money right then on something that you can write off that's gonna pay you in the future. That's not good. That's bad. You wanna know why? Because now that's a hard cost. That's you don't get that credited back to you at the bank. Where whenever we go buy a tractor, we get to finance the tractor, or even if we pay cash for the tractor, we get to depreciate that all year one.
Because it's equipment.
But the bank will give you credit for that depreciation back. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you can spend that money in a way that will still keep you lendable, or you can spend it in a way that's going to be a detriment. And whenever you're trying to explain to the bank, you know what I mean? Like, hey, they understand the game. They understand writing off and income, but you have to show a solid debt service coverage ratio. And we kind of learned that the hard way. We didn't have that set up like that. So, Braxton, I feel like I'm doing all the talking. I want to hear your version of events. You're going through some refis right now. You're 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you get that 760 credit score? Is that what it is? How'd you get that at 19? How'd you have that at 18? How'd you get approved for an American Express at 18 years old?
At that point, I don't know. I think I was probably 16 when I learned that you could be an authorized user.
How?
I think just a YouTube video. It's like,
What?
I don't even remember where I saw it. I'm pretty sure it's a YouTube video because I learned that, and like you should use only 30% of your available credit, and those are kind of my two takeaways from it.
So on YouTube, you watch car videos,
and how to get a better credit score
at 16.
Yeah.
Why was credit important to you at 16?
It wasn't. It was going to be, though.
It was important enough to you to be researching it.
Yeah.
Why
Plan
was
ahead.
it? Why?
I don't know. I just knew if you had good credit, you could get loans for whatever.
What was the whatever?
I don't know. At that time, it was just, oh, this would probably set me up early on.
Didn't your parents teach you about debt?
Mm-mm.
What was their view on debt?
It's whatever. Like, you get a car loan, you get a mortgage, but if you can't avoid it, avoid it.
So avoid debt.
Yeah.
Okay. We got to apologize to Braxton's dad. We got to.
That's right. Gotta have a retraction. In episode 1, I said my dad definitely won't watch, and if he did, if there's any way in the world that he did, he wouldn't tell anybody about it. Corey said, "No, I bet he would." Well, he did. So sorry, Dad. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoy it.
Thanks for raising such a good son, Mr. Harrison. I'm trying myself. My son's choosing physical violence early in the mornings these days.
He might just be a fighter, though. I was thinking about that. You might just be raising a heavyweight champion.
I mean, all right. We're going to go down a tangent. We're talking about Braxton's. Yesterday, I had to change a tire, threw Biggin's car seat out into the ditch. It got covered in ants. I had Biggins with me. So Biggins was in a bind. His car seat was covered in ants. So I had bought some spray, some DJ spray, I'll call it. You know, DJ's got a smell.
Still in my car right now.
Yeah, but I spray it, like, try to spray it on where DJ's been. So I'd use that to try to kill the ants, you know?
That should work.
I don't know. I was like,
Yeah.
you know, you could have put some poison on there, but that'd probably kill the kid too.
Yeah, but like deodorant, it's just poisonous enough not to kill you, you know?
Yeah, it's like, it's on my body now. So I sprayed on the seat, put Biggins back in the seat. You know what I mean?
He's smelling fresh.
Smelling fresh. There's hopefully dead ants. And we're cruising. And he goes, "Ouch, mama. It itchy. Ouch, mama. It itchy. Mama, it itchy. Mama, it itchy." Over and over again. And I'm like, bro's getting tore up by ants talking about an itch. That's not what I remember ants being like. You know what I mean? Like, he's just back there getting ate up by ants.
Should be ouchie.
Should be just screaming bloody murder and crying.
Like, say it right, baby.
He's 2. You know what I mean?
You should be in pain.
You should
not itching.
Yeah, he's just like ouch, mama, itchy. It's over and over again. So he got tore up by some ants yesterday. Didn't shed a tear, and I was like, all right, that's why the ass whoopings ain't working. You know what I mean? Like I mean, he just looks you in the face, laying there, all cute, whack, open hand slap, claws at your eyes. So, Brian, if you got any advice, what'd you do to Braxton to make him not punch, bite, and kick? I don't know what the answer is, but Jasper's a very, very, very tough kid, apparently. But anyways, so good credit. You knew it was good credit.
So I got my mom to get a credit card.
Yeah.
Add me, and just asked her like, hey, for everything that you purchase, don't ever use your debit card. A couple years, just 2 years or so.
Hold on. You asked your mom to change her spending habits to build your credit?
Change her card habits. Which card she uses. Like, hey, don't use your debit card. Just, use this card instead.
And pay it off? Or did you tell her to carry a 30% balance?
Pay it off. Don't let the balance run.
Yeah.
So, by 18, like the day I could, I opened, I applied for, I guess, the city card first. Waited about 4 months, applied for Capital One. And after about 9 or 10 months, I applied for the First American Express.
All right. So those original 2 cards, what was your limit?
$1,000 each.
That's not bad. What are they now?
Still 1,000. I haven't requested an increase.
Do you have to request an increase?
Depends on the card.
A lot of times they just send you the increase.
Yeah. I haven't tried to.
Okay.
But like American Express keeps going up.
What is it now?
It's back to 28 now.
We ruined Braxton's American Express, by the way.
It's back though. It's okay.
I mean,
It never dinged me. It just whoa, pump the brakes, cowboy.
it happened to us. It happened to us. We charged 30 grand on something. It was materials purchase, and they shut down our card on Memorial Day weekend 2015. Jacob was pissed.
But then they give it back eventually.
Oh, they do give it back, but they requested. I can't remember what they requested, but we had to send them something.
Like a verification of funds.
Verification
they
of
do.
funds.
That's what they did whenever. That's how they released mine. Is I was on the phone with them and we called my bank's like automated system and did a available balance check, and I had the money in there, so they're like, "Okay, you're cool."
Yeah, that's what they do.
I haven't checked the platinum though.
Which one? You haven't checked the platinum?
Like spending limit
You got a platinum now? So you applied for a second American Express?
for business.
So you got a personal American and a business one now. You were using the original one for both.
Well, yes, because I would just pay it off before it would post, depending on what was used.
Yeah.
So, if I have to buy something for business, spend that, have my receipt, pay the balance off with my business account.
Yeah.
If it's personal, then I do the other way.
We have not canceled the last baseball game.
I did.
You did? Mm-hmm. Oh, son of a bitch.
When you told me that.
You canceled it?
You told me like weeks ago.
Yeah, we might need to get it back.
Okay.
I did. I mean, I've still been trying to sell tickets. So if you want to go to a baseball game, buy a ticket. Maybe we'll have one. Not, we'll refund your money. It's still on the Roughneck to Real Estate website, roughnecktorealestate.com, for hard money loans and baseball tickets, maybe. But damn, I was
Might be fraudulent tickets at this point. You might be buying.
Yeah, I mean, you just hit the refund button. Oh, it just Eventbrite gets sad. They get sad. They hate releasing their shit, but they cancel the event. You just hit the refund button. Well, so you changed your mom's spending habits. You got that. Now you got 2 American Express. You have never checked the platinum. That's weird. I would check that right now.
See what it is.
Maybe
It's hard because you can only do it so many times before it's like, check again tomorrow.
yeah, but
they're afraid it's
I would
fraud.
check it the other way. I would check it trying to buy a dump trailer. You know what I mean?
If I went and bought a dump trailer right now, what would it cost me?
You probably, I don't know. Spoon bought a poor person dump trailer, so
Say I bought his.
I think maybe 11.
Oh yeah, surely it'll go for.
Surely it would go for 11.
Oh yeah, we're in there.
Yeah, so you got at least 11 on that platinum. What about see if you can get the big boy trailer, that $40,000 one we were going to buy.
25's good.
Damn, Braxton.
So I've got at least 50 in Americans right now.
But you got to pay that off every month.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah, that platinum goes hard.
I don't
40 now.
I don't want to keep checking. I'm afraid.
What I mean, ours. You told Jacob how to check it that one day,
Yeah.
and it was 150. And
And he already had like an $80,000 balance. It's like, oh, you got at least $250,000 ready, man.
yeah, so it was that was pretty funny. We were seeing what our purchasing power was, and it was 150, and we had an $80,000 balance. I see people bragging about what they pay on American Express every month, and I remember whenever we did that, because it was cool. Like the first time you ever paid American Express like 60 grand in 1 month, you were like, that's cool. And now we spend like probably 100 grand a month on it every month.
Yeah. See, I burnt it out.
You burned it out. We apologize.
Simply-
You said you were going to stop.
We limit the number of daily requests, prevent fraud on your account.
That's nice of them. That's
Yeah.
nice, American Express. Like I mean, I've been there. I've been at a place and bang the American and get declined, and you're like, I don't know. I didn't know that was
Must
possible.
they just didn't know I was traveling. That's all. That's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
the other person.
Yeah, like they had no idea I was going to be in Groesbeck today.
Yeah. I live somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's just a travel fraud.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, they don't like it here. But that would, yeah, I've been there and I've been like, oh shit, what does that mean? I didn't know American Express could get turned down, but they do. So you got your credit, you got your credit card.
Yep.
Now you're refinancing rentals. How's that going? 2 years tax returns. When you're not old enough to have filed 2 years tax returns, how does that work?
They've got basically, so like for Happy, they just looked at it and they're like, well, why? Why don't you have them? I'm like, 19, man. He's like, oh, okay. And that
Makes
was
sense.
it. Like, that really was it. Because it was like, I also think that was a sharp banker, though. Like, he knew the property already. He knew off the top of his head what he'd loan on it.
And he handed you to a different guy?
Yes, to try to. That's what he told me. He's like, I tried to let him get that loan closed because he needed some volume, but if he's not gonna do it, I'll go ahead and pick back up. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm on vacation. Send me what you got. I'll get taken care of.
That's good. You need to introduce us to that banker. So that's everybody that needs a banker. You got to get introduced by somebody. So we started with an introduction to Happy with a different guy, and he wouldn't communicate well. And then you reached out to this guy and said, "Hey, I was working with homie over here, but he's not really replying. What can you help?" And he's like,
Oh yeah, what you want to refi? Told him the property. Oh, I was describing it. I'm like, oh, I get this fourplex. Here's where it's at. He's like, oh yeah.
"I know that property."
He's like, Charles Ohm sold that. I'm like, I can't really remember. And I looked up. I'm like, yeah, that was the seller's name. He's like, yeah.
So he knew.
Yeah, he just knows that market out there. Because I guess there's not a whole bunch of multifamily there.
Oh, there's definitely not.
Like, that was probably the only multifamily there.
So it's a fourplex. How much?
He's getting me 50,
But how much did you pay?
70,
You paid 70? You didn't pay 70 to us. You borrowed 70.
65.
Yeah, you paid 65 to us.
Borrowed 70.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, borrowed a little cash reserves there on the front side. How's that work?
Good. Ain't got a single work order out of it, so ain't used them. They're still there.
Oh, you got an elevator work order.
I do have that.
Yeah, the elevator work order came in yesterday.
I want to which tenant, because I met all the tenants other than the Pizza Hut manager.
I think it was a key. It was a key issue.
Oh.
Or no. They wanted a copy of their lease. It wasn't even a work order. They wanted a copy of their lease. So they put in a work order for elevator for the
I don't even
elevator
know if
being
they're on
broke.
leases.
They're not on leases, and which is great because now they're asking for a copy of the lease. Now we'll get them on a new lease and raise the rent. Did you tell Whitley to raise the rent?
I told her wait till after the refi.
Yeah. So maybe she did reach out to them and let them know there was going to be a rent raise or something, and that's why they started asking for their lease. That's typically what happens. You put in for a rent raise, and they start requesting their lease that you don't have a copy of because the previous owner probably didn't supply them. That's small-time real estate. Now, an estoppel is preferred. An estoppel will stop all that. You know what an estoppel is?
It's all the information like tenant signs, how much they pay,
How much they pay.
notarized it, and
It don't have to be notarized, but
it's just something saying here's how much I'm paying.
like because you don't end up in a situation where the tenant comes back and says, "Oh no,
we had this deal where I was doing maintenance and
I was doing
paying
maintenance
$10 a month.
Yeah, it just cuts all that out. Now, I don't know. I guess it could a savvy tenant. Any savvy tenant can make your life hell. So don't worry about that.
I don't know if those are savvy tenants.
Well, but they want a lease and they might have one. But if they don't have a copy and we don't have a copy, I don't know. The court could say, "Oh, you got to honor this fictional lease that nobody has a copy of." Previous owner might have a copy. He may give it to you, he may not. Estoppels would have stopped all this, but now that she's doing rent raises, but I think we ran numbers on it, and we're only doing the rent raise to cover the additional debt service, correct?
Yeah.
So
I think it has to only go up like $50 or $75 a unit
yeah,
for the new interest and all that.
because the cash flow is fine because you're getting what $1,200 a month rent
Yeah.
on a
$350
$70,000 with a $50,000 note. What are you doing with the money? So the additional money you're gonna have to bring to close it. Are you paying off your aunt?
She's fine with letting it ride for a while.
Okay, so
I said, just let me know when you want to get paid off. I'll get money together. But she's like, keep getting a return on it.
yeah, so
And I told her I would double it up. Because I'm like, hey, you're going in a second. This is what you need to do. You need to demand a higher rate. She's like, okay, I guess.
yeah, his aunt's giving him a sweetheart deal. And guys, I'm gonna tell you, I was like, I mean, it's uncomfortable. It's not comfortable. Was asking for money comfortable?
Yes and no. Yes, because I believed in it. No, because you're asking for money.
It's uncomfortable. It's taboo. You just don't do it. It's just not something you do. I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite. I almost asked Ron for 85 cents to buy a candy bar. I don't care. I'm like, I do not have that problem in my life. Now, I will say this. It probably is an ego thing, but it's not really an ego thing. I just feel like there's so much money out there. So we had a lender, a friend of mine, used to drive his booty call home from our house. Like, so she didn't have a car. He'd bring her home from the bar, and then I'd have to drive her back to her place because he wouldn't wake up early enough to get her back home so she could go to work. That's our history. Been in fights on this dude's behalf. Like, been in fist fights where he is in the mix, but he's kind of a pretty dude. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't want him, like, so I'd be in there in the mix. I'd be like, this guy's too pretty to get punched, so I got to go in here and rough these guys up for him. You know what I mean? Just out with the fellas, doing our thing. And he jumped in, wanted to be a lender. The Palestine deal. He didn't believe in it. His real estate agent wife on a $50,000 loan, of which most of that's gonna go into rehab, but we're just gonna owner finance that thing for like 85. Gonna be a super straightforward deal. Sell the note. Nothing about that deal is scary. It's a very small deal. It's a deal that we could pay off in 2 seconds if he needed his money back. And he requested pictures of it, so we sent him pictures of it, and he got uncomfortable when he seen the pictures. And I understand.
Called it too.
Do what?
You called it though. You're like, if he wants to see pictures, it ain't gonna help him.
No, it's not. Like, if you're loaning on off-market real estate, vacant off-market real estate. This lady died how long ago?
A while, I think like 5 years.
Her cats were in the house.
They're alive when I was there. I guess they.
Okay, well, they didn't make it. They're dead now. And complete. There's just hair. It's just hair.
That was such a weird picture.
Very weird picture. Which were the pictures we sent him? Probably the dead cats didn't
Probably should have gotten left out.
Should have edited those out. Should have sent those to Sohail. Said, "Hey, take those dead cats out."
But there's live cats when I originally saw it, and guess they kept them locked up in there.
Yeah, but this property's got the square footage to carry it. It's got the acreage to carry it. It's on a great street. It's just not a bad property. And when they pulled out, they said, "Hey, look, we don't want to do this loan." Something came up. They blamed it on something extra in their life. They should have just been like, "We don't want to loan on that piece of shit." So at that moment in time when that happened, like, and this is where I can't decide if it's ego or not. It's like, look, I just never want to do business again because there's no shortage of money. There's a shortage of deals. That deal took a lot to put together. We had several affidavit of heirships. How old are the sellers? So the mom died. The sellers are how old?
Yeah, 4 sisters are all like 75 and above.
They need the money. We set a closing date. I think we closed, and then the money just doesn't get wired. It just set all these people back, and made us look. Which our reputation, we're not necessarily worried about that, but it just.
And we're still 3 to 4 months in it, and we're telling these people the whole time, like, "Hey, we're
going to close.
We're working on it." They didn't understand any of it was the issue.
Yeah, they don't understand it. Braxton had to go sit with them. How many trips to Palestine you made?
I think 3.
We have a lot of time invested into this, and then you don't understand the real estate, so it's kind of like this. With when you ask somebody money, do they believe in you or do they believe in the real estate?
They believe in me.
And that's wholeheartedly what it is. They believe in you as a human.
They don't even ask about the deal.
Yeah, the deal is almost irrelevant. If they don't believe in you, then they got to believe in the real estate, which is what every hard money lender is going to scrutinize and stuff like that. So that's them. But if you're a private money lender, 99% of the time you just got to believe in the human. The real estate will work itself out. And that sounds, again, I don't know if that's egotistical. It's just like why do you think we would put you on this and fail? Like I would have rather sent you our bank account. I would have rather just said, "Hey, look, if it gets weird,
we can write you a check.
Here's $500,000 that we got just sitting there. in case things get weird. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
I get what you mean. It's like if you believe in us, if you want to lend, it's like I shouldn't have to show you that. Like you said, you want to do this.
well, I can. I would show them any part of that, that they want to. I would do it the day we have the conversation about it. The day you say yes, I want to lend, all that should already been out the way.
I get what you mean.
Like, it shouldn't get down to send me pictures, because there's no way I can take pictures of that thing to make it look in a way that's going to be comforting to you. And I mean, even Johnny will tell you over and over again, when's the lender most at risk, Braxton? You hadn't heard it? You hadn't heard Johnny say this?
I'm sure I have, but
The day it closes, the lender has the most risk. The day a deal closes, the lender has the most risk, because it's sitting in a state of disrepair and ugly that if it's a first payment default and they don't touch it, somebody's going to have to go clean that up. Somebody has to have the skill set to turn that around. You get what I mean?
That makes
the
sense.
value and equity is there, but it's maybe not there at the moment the wire is sent. A lot of times when a hard money lender is loaning 100% at close, you know what I mean? They're taking on the risk of having to do the full rehab on that, or even get it cleaned up to a point where it's doable. Think about the deal we went and looked at in Corpus that Jet got a deed in lieu of foreclosure. Again, a weird deal, but they wired $30,000 or $40,000 on that deal. You get there, would you pay 30 or 40 for that? And even if you would, you might only pay 30 or 40 for that. There's no equity. There's no return. There's no return going to be made on that money. If you want that money to grow, you're going to have to go do the work. And that deal, I mean, we couldn't even walk through it. It didn't
walking
have
on
floors.
rafters, yeah.
Yeah, you had to step on rafters, and you couldn't tell where the bathrooms were. Couldn't tell, you couldn't get in and out doors. It was real jankety. Now, is there equity there? That house might be worth $200,000 or $300,000 once it's done, but in the condition it's in, it's basically a lot.
Yeah, keyword is once it's done.
Yeah, somebody got to have an intense skill set to go finish that thing up. So yeah, that your credit and your refis, that's impressive. Like, parlay. Do you think we should invite Spoonie in to go through the Dave Ramsey? Did you follow any of Dave's stuff? Do you think your parents are Dave Ramsey fans?
I know my dad's listened to some of them, and I guess when you're asking of who I've studied, I have listened to some of his stuff, but it's just, I think he's great for your average, American with a fat W-2, sure, whatever, but it's like, it limits you so much, I think, as to how much more you could grow and do.
You think so?
Yes.
All right. Why do you think that?
Well, it's the leveraging thing. Say you're
Okay.
going and getting 50% loan to cost because you're a doctor, loans, and you can buy, say, 5 houses a year, versus if you're going to do the same thing, you could only buy 1 or 2 because you're buying it all cash. It's like, well, you could be getting more, and the debt's irrelevant. The tenant pays that, and you're letting the appreciation ride.
Appreciation, a word that can or can't happen. There's a lot of speculative real estate, a lot of speculation in appreciation. It exists, it's real, but
Depreciation is also real.
Depreciation's also real. You get to claim it on your taxes, but it's real. You're going to have to replace the roof. You're going to have to replace the flooring. You're going to have to replace the lights. You're going to have to the AC. All this stuff's going to have to be replaced. So it's the flip of a coin. There is a balance. You can't, you'll find out you're over leveraged. Before the COVID rent rises, a lot of people were over leveraged. One of them might even be sitting here. You know what I mean? It's when I go look at how our long-term real estate was performing at $800 a month, it's like, oh man, it probably the county raises the taxes to what it'll actually appraise for, and that deal gets busted. I mean, it gets blown apart because you got something that's on the tax roll for $20,000. The taxes are $300 or $400 a year, and then they raise it to $150 what it can actually sell for. And it goes to $4,500 a year in taxes. Nah, maybe not that much. No, it would have been that much because it's 3%. So you go from paying $400 to to $4,500. That takes. I mean, that deal gets broke apart pretty easy. No matter what the debt is on it. Those guys that own their stuff cash, that's the stuff that we're buying it. The guys that don't have any debt on it, we're buying those deals from them right now. Pretty interesting. Dave Ramsey, on the other hand, which we'll watch. How do you think his like? What do you think sets him apart? He owns real estate. How much do you think he owns?
I don't know.
What do you think? Put a number on it. All cash.
All cash, over 10 million, I bet.
Okay, so this is very interesting because I don't know how old Dave Ramsey is. I have no idea how old Dave Ramsey is, but whatever amount of real estate you think he got, where do you think he bought it? How do you think he got the cash to do it?
Talking about money on the internet, getting revenue.
Well, way before the internet.
Wherever. I mean, didn't he have a show?
He was on radio. I mean, I'm not going to discount the grind that Dave Ramsey put
absolutely.
in.
But I mean, I think that was a lot of earned income dumping it into
100% earned income dumped into hard assets. Okay? So, earned income dumped into hard assets. Nothing wrong with that. But you got to have that big earned income. Mm-hmm. If you want to own rentals, you got to earn income somewhere. Because the rentals aren't necessarily going to produce enough until you get at a certain scale. So Dave Ramsey's about to tell us how much real estate we own. Now I watched this driving up today, and I don't watch Dave Ramsey. I've not listened to a lot of his stuff. I've seen little clips of him on the internet, and we've roasted him a little bit. But I watched this, and this showed like a good insight because Dave is hard on the average American. He's hard on the wage slaves.
Well, and I think he does have a pretty strong message for those people too. Like, I don't think he has bad advice.
He does not have bad advice for them to a certain degree to break them from consumer debt. If consumer debt is your issue. But he says something here where he really not in this clip, but in this interview right here, if y'all go watch the whole thing, he says some things that it's like, oh, okay, he understood where this guy came from. Now, I've never heard of the guy that's interviewing him either. I thought I had, but he had a name like a guy that I'd actually heard of. And so I don't know who this kid is. I don't have any idea. But Dave Ramsey's about to tell us how much real estate he owns. How old do you think Dave is? Right here, looking at this.
60.
So Dave's in his 60s. Went bankrupt in real estate once before. I don't know when that happened. Became really debt adverse. Developed a strong message and started charging people money. He will let you put his courses on a credit card, even though he don't think you should have a credit card. He takes them. So that's just interesting. Dave Ramsey don't have a credit card.
He should be asking for account and routing number.
Yeah. But hey, pay me with a credit card. Interesting philosophy there. Interesting value. But let's see how much real estate he owns. Let's press play, Sohail.
Bought a lot of real estate, went broke in the business, started buying again. I've got, I don't know, probably $600 million worth right now, something like that, paid for. So I love real estate. My portfolio is way out of balance on real estate. Can I aggressively invest in mutual funds and put a lot of money in them? But
did you see that one coming?
No, I didn't. I would have thought at least under 100 million at most. So that just makes me wonder, how much does he and has he made from all the courses, the radio show, the TV show, whatever?
Dave Ramsey might be king guru.
He might be. 600 million.
But even he...
Free and clear.
That's
insane.
Cash flowing real estate.
Portfolio, once I gave myself permission to be me, is paid for real estate, the company that I own, and mutual funds. I don't own any high risk anything.
Sure.
Yeah. So
and I'm okay with it growing a little.
He's okay with it growing a little slower. Is what he's about to say there.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, you got 600 million.
You need a trickle.
Cash.
Not even a trickle, like to live off of that.
So it makes me wonder: does Dave have a fund? Will he take your money? Can you partner with Dave on a deal? Can you know what I mean? Like, can you get in on a deal with Dave? Is Dave just, is he? Oh yeah, we don't have any debt, but it's equity.
Yeah, see, I don't want to speculate, but that does make me wonder. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible, but $600 million just cash owned, like, it seems
With a 20-year long radio show. However long that was, 10 years on the internet now.
yeah. I guess it just comes down to how much has he made it. Like, I mean, it's not impossible, I guess.
Oh, well, I believe he has 600 million.
Yeah, that's just what I mean, though. It's like, I wonder, is like what you're saying, is he a 50% owner in it? Does he have a fund? Does he take outside money? Because that's not technically debt. That's just investor equity.
Yeah, it's equity. I mean, is he preaching to the average American and just like blowing smoke up their ass? Yeah, I don't have any debt. I have equity. Now, who else have you studied? We need to get Spoon in here for this next video we're going to watch. I haven't watched the whole thing. There's a guy attacking Grant Cardone. I guess he's been doing it for a while. Grant is probably the exact opposite of Dave Ramsey. Go ahead.
Let's wrap this episode up and we can bring Spoon in here.
Yeah, we'll set up with Spoon, but Grant's the exact opposite of Dave Ramsey. So Grant has how many billions did he say? I think he's sitting around $1 billion. Maybe $2 billion.
This sounds right.
You would think that Grant would earn more money selling courses. True or false?
Yeah. He's got a savage sales team, like, only doing that.
Only doing that. But Dave Ramsey's paid $600 million cash.
So, thinking about Grant, though, think about the money that he makes on it. I mean, I do think once you start getting the first couple big deals, like the life-changing deals on apartments or something, you could definitely compound what you make.
Oh, you can, but look.
But $600 million still is an absurd amount of.
I don't like. There's no question. If I'm Grant Cardone or Dave Ramsey right now, one or the other, I get to pick to be one. I'm picking Dave. And what they own, what they have. Right now, I'm picking Dave. What are you picking?
If $600 million free and clear versus a couple billion leveraged, free and clear.
I don't know why. I just imagine that Joe Biden can't destroy it. I just imagine the Donald Trump can't get elected and destroy that wealth. It cannot be destroyed. I think there is something that could come in to somebody that has debt, and some event could happen to take it to. Now, I don't know Grant's cash position or any of that. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Well, it's also something you can borrow against.
Well, you can borrow against it, but you wouldn't have to.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to. If your cash position, homie on the left here has $3.7 million.
I think he's pretty young. Graham Stephen or whatever.
Yeah. He seems pretty young. Yes.
I think he was one of the credit card videos that I watched. He has videos on credit cards.
Well, there you go. $3.7 million liquid. He just put his whole balance sheet up here. He's got $2 to $5 million in equity on angel investments. He's got $450,000 worth of crypto and $4 million worth of debt on real estate. So he's got almost as much liquid as he's got debt on real estate, which is impressive. And Dave tells him to pay it off. Dave, that's what he's about to tell him. He's like, "Hey, pay it off. You won't know how free you'll be once you pay that off. It's just you can't compare." But I'm guessing that Dave and Grant are around the same age. I would have picked tenfold that Grant had kicked his. I'd have been like you. He's got $10 million worth of real estate. My boy over here,
which is an impressive portfolio, but it's like,
yeah,
like that's just it.
Yeah, but 600.
That makes me want to dig into it.
600, bro.
Because I will be that much more impressed if it really is just like, no, bro. Like I just buy a couple million a year. Been doing that my whole life.
600 million. He's got 600 million. How
Can't even
much?
be a couple million. I mean, you got to be close to a lot of millions every single year, just
I wonder-
buying.
Well, but I also wonder what his basis is on it. That's the one thing that we're not factoring in. You know, if he bought some of that shit 30 years ago, I mean, his basis might not be 600.
Be like
His basis
6
might-
million. Nah, who knows? Depends on what he bought, where he bought it.
Yeah, but I mean, he bought it free and clear. I mean, once you get that steam rolling, but it takes large active income to make that happen. An extreme amount of active income. And he said, I mean, that was the part that he said.
Does he ever talk about what the portfolio is?
Commercial. He's like,
Really?
he got single family, but he says, you know, he tells him coming up, you need to get into commercial. You need to get into,
I'll listen to it on the way home.
you know, I mean, it's only a 13-minute video, but, you know, pretty interesting. Way to go, Dave Ramsey, on getting $600 million worth of real estate. Don't know how you did it. I'm curious. I'm curious what your basis is. You know, I wish Homie would have asked more questions, or maybe he did. This is an edited video, so maybe
Yeah,
he's
13
got
minutes, no way.
Yeah, so maybe he's got that. Maybe he's got the goods. Like, what's your basis on that 600 million? You know, so I
That's
you know,
really cool, though.
definitely blew my mind. Definitely blew my mind. So we'll get in here. We'll dive into what Grant's got going on. I don't know if any of this stuff that's going on with Grant is true, but people are upset about it. I'm not upset about it. It's exactly what I want to do. Now, I don't know if it's legal or not. Maybe we can. I really need to have. I wonder if Andrew could look in. We could send Andrew the video and say, "Hey, look, is this illegal? What he's talking about now?" But they say he's under federal investigation. I don't know if that's true.